Concerned citizens of Brant, they returned. We're going to get an update from, well, the face of the organization, Ron Norris. Jeff Bloomfield join us here on a Tuesday Inside Brant. Thanks for coming back in.
Thanks for having us back.
So where are we from, first of all, before I do that, let's remind everybody, concerned citizens of Brant, the cause is exactly what?
We are concerned about our water and the quality of water, and there's a pit going in north of Paris that is going in right beside our town walls.
How does the pit affect your water? Remind everybody.
So that site has been an agricultural site for a long time, sprayed with herbicides and pesticides, and they're going to extract the rock and wash it in a wash pond, and we're concerned that the chemicals that are resident on the site are going to end up in our water.
Okay, so what's happened since we last talked? Has anything happened since we last talked?
Actually, not much has happened since we last talked. They've launched an election, so we have the opportunity now to take this to the politicians and find out what their parties are going to do to try to protect our water.
Are you getting any indication? Are you getting any notice with what you're trying to accomplish?
We're waiting for a stakeholders meeting to be held. They've applied for a permit to actually take the water, and then when they're done taking the water, they've got to put it back in the aquifer. And so the Ministry of the Environment right now is reviewing that application, and it's been about a year now. And there's about 1,000 of us that made comments against that application. And we brought up some pretty serious concerns that they need to address.
You just brought something to my mind, without getting really definite on this, but I'm going to. One party's talking about 100,000 being unemployed, and these might be the people that check over things like water. Are you scared right away when you hear that?
Yeah. If they, I mean, right now, the way they're protecting our water isn't sufficient as it is. Once a year they check for contaminants like pesticides, and we all know that farming happens in the springtime when they spray this stuff on the fields, and you would think that they would time it to see, okay, that stuff would get to the wells at this time, let's check to see if it's contaminating our wells. But no, they'll get a reading in December or something, or whenever they feel like it, and it's once a year. So if it goes by and then disappears again, they'll never catch that.
Right.
So they're not doing enough as it is. To do less is even protecting us even less.
So oversight's becoming probably the big watchword for you these days.
Yeah, and I think some of the organizations, we've got a lot of support from the health organization from Ontario. They're requesting studies. Council's been supporting us, and there are a lot of people concerned, and not just us as a group, but people in positions of power. The hard part is getting somebody to actually, make a decision and get the license reviewed.
We're going to come back after the break, and I'm going to talk doomsday scenario, not to be negative. Ron and Jeff are going to handle the questions. We're going to talk about CCOB when we return. Only on Rogers. Thanks for being here on a Tuesday. We're Inside Brand. Hey, welcome back. The big issue is happening in Paris, so we're joined by concerned citizens of Brant, and that means we're talking to Ron Norris and to Jeff Bloomfield. We sit here every day for half an hour, positive and local. But gentlemen, I got to throw it out there. Let's talk doomsday scenario. What is the worst that can happen in your community?
Atrazine. Atrazine is a chemical that they spray on the fields, and atrazine has been found to actually chemically castrate male frogs. It turns up the production of estrogen, and they start actually forming eggs, and they actually start hatching eggs out of them.
Do we know? Do we know specifically right now, let's get it back to positive, do we know that that's not happening right now?
No.
No.
Really?
The issue, I think, is one of dilution. We know that atrazine is on the site. It's been sprayed on the site. We know that it has a persistence of over 20 years. So if it's been sprayed in the last 20 years, it's somewhere on the site.
So are we talking about, are we talking about major concentrations? Are we talking about that little thing that leaches in, and in 20 years from now we discover something happened?
Currently, it's spread over the whole 600 acres. But our concern is that they're going to wash all of this aggregate in a wash pond that's about 4 or 5 acres in size, or 4 or 5 hectares. So they're going to concentrate all this in one area, and that's our concern.
Why isn't there 500 people sitting here today?
Actually,
why is, like, what are your numbers like?
So, well, the last time we had the permit to take water, we had over 1,000 letters sent to the Ministry of the Environment. 1,000 letters from a community that's 10,000 people. That's pretty significant. So we do have good numbers. You know, our membership is pretty high for a small organization or a small town.
How do you, I can only think of ignore. How do you ignore 1,000 people?
That's a good question. I mean, now that we're coming up to elections, this is a very good question, right? How can you ignore this? How can the politicians ignore this? I have no idea. But I'd like to see it become more of a political issue in the campaigns.
So in Brant, what's a home run?
A home run?
Yeah, what is a big win for CCOB?
No pit?
Would be no pit.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you can't have that, let's go for a triple.
Increased regulations, increased testing, and maybe, actually a triple would be review the license. Just because the license is a 40-year-old license. It should have been reviewed under today's standards, period.
That sounds like it's the bare minimum.
That's the bare minimum, I would think.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's coming up for the group? Obviously, you got 1 in 10. How do you're looking to increase numbers, getting involved in concerned citizens of Brant?
One thing is increasing our numbers, yes.
Yeah.
Informing the public, letting them know about the dangers of atrazine and silica is another thing that we're concerned about.
Yeah.
You know, I've never asked, how come you know this?
We started, you know, this is what, 2.5 years ago we started. We just asked for this license to be reviewed because we said, okay, it's 40 years old. Could you at least review it under today's standards? And they said no. So we started doing more homework and research. They being the Minister of Natural Resources, right, and the associated provincial bodies. And we just started doing more homework. And the more we dug, you know, it's like one of those, it's like peeling the onion, right? You peel a layer and you just keep learning more and you realize there's something really wrong here.
So you started looking at a little problem?
Yeah, a little problem.
You had a big problem.
When you start stumping these people,
right,
when you go and you say to the Source Water Protection Committee and say, well, did you ever think of this? And you get a blank stare from them, then you know that they haven't been doing their job and actually assessing the threats for real.
So if I was going to sit here and talk to the other side, who would they be?
Minister of Natural Resources would be the one who actually stamps the license, the one that can say yes or no to this pit.
But there are also companies involved.
Yeah.
They can't want to be, they don't want to be BP out in the Gulf.
I mean, the companies, okay, I have one issue with this company in that, okay, they're a Swiss company and they would not be allowed to do this in Switzerland. So why are they doing it here? That's the only issue. But the fact is that we all use gravel. So it's not really the company's responsibility. They're doing what they're supposed to do. It's really the people in power that we've put in power to protect us. We expect them to do their jobs.
Well, let's see if we can talk to them. Ron, Jeff, I wish you good luck and thanks for more information tonight.
Yeah, thanks again.